Hi friends, good morning. Welcome you all back. After 1 week we are meeting again. So thank you again for being connecting with me and my team. So today we are just discussing about how we can introduce architectural concepts into BIM. Okay. So once again, many comments are coming here. Yeah, we will be doing it for 30 minutes for the time being, and later you can share your doubts, and we will make it a little more interactive. So anyway, we will continue our session. So since you know this BIM and everything which we have discussed in last sessions, what is BIM and how we need to implement BIM and everything we have discussed. So today, from the continuation of the last session, what I want you to understand is we will be focusing more on architectural BIM modeling. Definitely, while hearing that term, we will have a confusion regarding what may be the concept of BIM and architectural and Revit and something. Because in the last class we have already discussed something about what is the role of BIM or what is the role of Revit for implementing BIM. So today I would like to share you something about Revit, architecture, and we will just step into the architectural modeling for the time being. So hope all of you are with me, and definitely you can share your queries and your questions here in the chat box. It is completely open for you, and in between if you find any questions you are free to ask the questions, so we will be sharing the answers in the video or using the chat. Okay. So CAD International now made this opportunity for all of us to share the thoughts and share what is the happenings in the industry. So that's why we all are here. And connected to this architectural BIM session, we are having mechanical and even SolidWorks, like all the mechanical industry related queries, topics are also coming with you. So what I need to understand is, before entering into the topic, hope you all are okay with the previous topics and related contents what we. Okay, so I think all of you can hear me properly. Is there any problem? So no, it's okay, fine. So I am taking you to a small presentation for the time being. Architectural BIM concepts. This is what I need to share with you, because it's not a big concept or something. It is just a simple techniques and simple understanding for those who are directly entering into this BIM field using their architectural expertise. And one more thing, while you are developing a concept, or while you are going on where you are asked to do some part of BIM modeling or BIM project, we have to understand, like what we discussed in the last classes, what architectural person or what is the role of a MEP person, like there we have to understand. So as I mentioned in the slide, we are going to see the BIM using architectural modeling. So first of all, whenever any project is starting, we have to understand how it is started and what are the procedures of typical projects that is happening here. And by considering that phenomenon, understand how BIM can be used for them, how BIM plays its role in doing a project properly. Okay? So if I am coming into this session, hope you remember this cycle which we discussed in the last session. Regarding how a complete BIM process, or what is the major processing of life cycle of BIM, how is it happening, and from where it should start, and like the way. Okay, so if you are considering, or if you are understanding the basic concept or basic introduction into the industry of BIM, you need to understand there is a process called designing, building and operation. Okay, just please hold a second. I'll just make it once again, and I'll come 1 second. Please hold on. Okay, so this is what we were discussing, just to understand the basic concept of how the BIM process happens. And we have to say that we are following a concept of designing, building and operation. As you can see in the picture, everything starts from the design or starts from the concept, and then that concept is being developed or that concept is being implemented using the concept of BIM. Okay, so if you are considering what all things has to be developed or what all things has to be implemented in the project, you need to understand we are following architectural discipline, we are following structural discipline, and we are following MEP discipline there. So as far as we are into the industry, we need to understand how far this will be practical. This is one of the major thing. How far this section is, or how far this disciplines are made mandatory into your area. So before starting into that session, we need to understand how the concept or how everything works with you people. Okay, so before that, I'll just show you a small idea regarding how will it work. I think you can see my video picture clearly. Yes, the major disciplines and everything what I have explained there, I think it will be clear for you. And yes, okay, so this is what we were discussing. If you are starting the process, how to design, how to build and how to operate. Okay, so this is the major consideration. So when we want to see the process, I am just shifting you to the major stages, or how we need to understand or how we need to proceed with your progress and everything. Okay, if you can see this presentation, the first and primary stage what you need to understand is how to prepare a conceptual design. So everything starts from there. Even if it is a small project or a big project, everything starts with your conceptual design. You know the term concept, right? Because everything is starting from the concept which is asking by the client, and then whoever is designing the project, they will be maintaining that concept and trying to make it implemented. Okay, so for that purpose we need to understand what is client's exact requirement. You can ask a question, if you are involving in BIM process, is it necessary to understand what the client requires, or what is the role of understanding that? It is very important to understand how or what is the main perception of the client, because each and every area which you are modeling in your project, it should be proper and it should be made excellent as per their requirement. Otherwise, anybody who are involving in this project cannot even do any 1% of their tasks efficiently. Okay, so that is why understanding the client's requirement is very important, even if you are a lead. And then you have heard about the concept called BIM execution plan. BIM execution plan is a set of document which is prepared in addition or before implementing a project into action. And moreover, we have to understand that every stages of the project is carried out using this BIM execution plan. Even if it is architectural side or whoever is involving in that project, they need to understand what a BIM execution plan for that project. Okay, for that project, it is not anything else. What is the BIM execution plan for that project is more important, and that is why you can say that site and model based survey is mandatory there, because if you have a good concept with you, see, if you are looking the concept of Museum of Future in Dubai, you have seen that it is in the Sheikh Zayed Road, right? The concept, they have made that concept very architectural and very aesthetically pleasing, and once that concept is derived from the owner or the designer, they have to manage, or they have to maintain that execution or that concept to implementation very efficiently. Because if you can see that picture, that building, it's very difficult to execute those projects properly. So that is what I was telling about. We need to understand what is the site scenario and what is the concept of everything. Okay, so what is the major requirement or major idea and the concept and the site situation is very mandatory. And later, then what we need to understand is, as a BIM modeler or as a BIM person, you have to develop a conceptual model, especially in terms of Revit. We will call it as a conceptual mass. Hope you all are familiar with the mass concept, right? The term called mass. Massing is one of the biggest area in Revit, which we are using for implementing the major concept and everything in the project. So that is the major area where you are going to prepare the conceptual design from Revit. Why Revit is? It's very interesting, or it is very consistent throughout the project. If you are preparing the concept from Revit itself, it will be very useful or very easy for you to develop your project, because at the time of concept development or concept designing, you won't have any kind of idea regarding the detailing. You don't have any detail about that project. Okay, so that is what I told. If you are preparing the concept of your project from Revit, massing concept, it will be very important, very effective. Okay, and now once the major concept is ready, you will be taken, or you will drive to the next stage called schematic design. You might be familiar about this term, right? All of you might be familiar about this term. Schematic design, you are preparing the preliminary model. Don't misunderstand with the term preliminary. Preliminary doesn't mean it is the very previous stage. After completing the very previous concept, you are developing it slowly to make it little, not to maximum detail, little more detail. You are preparing that schematic design, and from this schematic design, even you can understand how the architectural and how the structural is developed, or structural models are being developed, and how the integration is maintained. Okay, so this is the area of schematic design. If you see from an outside view or from a third angle, you can see it is an interesting systematic way how it is developed, how any BIM model is developed, from its concept to its schematic. And once the schematic designs are approved from the concerned authority, you can prepare your detailed design. Detailed designing, everybody will have certain kind of queries, like do you have to prepare the 3D model, or do you want to prepare 2D model, and what exactly mean this detailed design and all. Okay, so from the picture or from the presentation, you can see, if you are looking at that scene, I have mentioned some term called LOD 200, LOD 300, LOD 350, LOD 400, and so on. It's not ending with LOD 400, but still for the time being I just made LOD till. So as a BIM person, or as a BIM specialist, or as a BIM expert, you should understand how your developed or how your model should be presented for the implementation or in front of the concerned authority, in whichever detail or up to what extent you need to present your model. So if you can see in the picture, when the LOD range is increasing from 200 to 400, the content of detail is also increases. If you can see there, if it was at the time of LOD 200, it was just a cube or just a block, solid block was that. and once it reaches LOD 300, a little more detail is added to that model, and when it reaches 350, little more detail is added, and when it is in 400, again more detail. And by the way, you will be developing an as-built model from the BIM concept. Okay, so that stage is what I was talking about, from the conceptual stage to schematic stage to the detailed design. And once the detailed design is ready, if you can read from there, detailed design model with specialist consultant, it doesn't mean it is only from architecture, it doesn't mean it is only from structure, it doesn't mean it is only from MEP. All three discipline people will be adding their own contributions to this project at various stages. And that is why the second point I have, clash detection and resolution report between each discipline is important there. Hope you can understand explanation, right? Okay, because this is very, very important when you are entering. Once you prepare an architecture model, it doesn't mean you done everything. Once your architectural concept or schematic, whichever stage you prepare, the same time you are responsible, or whoever is responsible for the coordination should take that model aligned with the other discipline. So that when you are aligning it with another discipline, you can see the practical problems. Say for example, if there is a beam and a duct clashing with each other, sometimes you know about the sleeves, right? Like the builders work which we are providing for MEP design, and some of the builders work, like the sleeves and all, the position of the sleeves and all may or may not match the practical location or practical fixation of at the site. It won't match. Why? Because they fail, or they were not aware of how to link the model together at exact location. Okay, so that is very important. We will be covering all those things in our future sessions, how to place different discipline models at same location in order to avoid misplacement of different discipline models. As I mentioned in the last session, we have already discussed about there may be different companies who are involved in this project. Different sub-disciplines are also there. So each sub-discipline people or sub-discipline companies might be giving their own Revit model separately. Okay, so when all these models are placed together at one location, it should place at the exact location. Okay, it should be at the same location, it shouldn't get misplaced. So that is why this clash detection, proper coordination is important. And once it is ready, you can see the third point, in addition with your detailed design, you can prepare tenant, which means once everything is okay, your clashes and everything are cleared, you can slowly enter into procurement side. It doesn't mean you should only enter after completing the clash detection. If different people are there, you have to manage it at that particular stages. Sometimes 2 or 3 functions has to be maintained at same time by different people at different location. It can be different companies as well. So that is what I told. You are going to prepare a model with procurement data. Is it clear? Okay. So what I was telling was, in our typical concept or traditional concept of preparing 2D drawings or 2D layouts, is it easy enough to understand or easy enough to get into such a track? For those who are well experienced in this area might feel it is very easy because they are used to it. But we need to find some kind of easy methods to solve all those things. So that is why this vital role there. And especially in BIM, we have to prefer, or we can prefer, Revit software as one of the major supporting software for implementing that concept. Okay, so what you need to understand is, are preparing this model. If you can see, different stages are there, 100, LOD 100 to 200, 300, 400, 500, like the way it keeps on continuing from there. So you have to understand how you need to present your model properly. Okay, so this is what we need to understand from the concept of BIM, and that is why we are here to present this concept, or we need to enter our modeling our session to proper Revit. How to model such areas, or how to prepare all the models as per your consideration or as per the requirements. Okay, hope this was clear for you. Okay, so now by considering this topic or this area, I am just introducing you to the Revit architecture software, how we need to enter or how we need to add Revit model or Revit architecture modeling into this area. Clear? Okay, so now today we have to focus on these three major points. As far as we are entering into it, we need to understand what is a base point or project base point in Revit, and what do you mean by the concept of datum elements in Revit, and how we will prepare an architectural wall in Revit. Okay, so I am taking you to the Revit software. Hope whatever we discussed till now is clear for you. Okay, if you have any queries, you are most welcome to share your questions in the chat box, and also if it is okay, if you have any questions, and if I want to give some live, just text me in the chat box. So if it is fine, shall I move to the software? Okay, so now I want to take you to the software Revit, and hope you can see in my screen. This is what you can see if you open the software Revit. We did the last classes. We also understand there are different concepts for architecture modeling, structural modeling, MEP modeling, and at the same screen is what we have seen. And one more good news for you all, that Autodesk has launched Revit 2021 for the students. So latest more updates are there in Revit 2020. Currently we will be also sharing all the latest updates in this channel, through this channel, in order to make it a little more easier for you. It's professional track. Okay, so by the way, I'm taking you to this Revit. So once you open the software, you can see this is the major first screen what you can see from the Revit. And once it is okay here, we can see there are two categories. If you see the left side of the window, you can see two categories are there. One is model and the other one is family. So models means what? Those are the entire project. Okay, models means those are the entire project. And the same way, at the next stage, you can see families. Families means what? The items which we are using in the project. So these are the two major areas where a Revit modeler or Revit expert will be working with. Okay, so that is what we need to understand, how to prepare a model, and in the future, in the coming session, we will be discussing about how to prepare a proper family with parameters. Okay, so now I am going with a model. Model means it's a project. So let me click on this new. So what you can see, they will ask to choose a template, whether you are going to prepare an architecture model, whether you are going to prepare a structural model, or whatever it may be. So before entering into this area, I just want to give a clarification on what a template is. That in order to start our project, more efficiently, we are predefining some sort of information or some sort of settings in Revit, so that our working will be easy. Okay, so that our working will be much more easier than we start from scratch and very complicated moving. So that is why for each discipline we can find different templates. For architectural discipline, there is one type of template. Structural template, it is another. For structural people, another template. MEP, another template. Like the way different templates are there. And if you go to browse, you can find, see, this is the location from where you can find the templates, because if you install the software in any system, all the basic templates or the preliminary starting file will be available here only. Okay, so you can have the default metric, which is the complete default. Everything will be default, everything, and will be in metric units as well. So that is what I'm going to start with, and once you click OK, you can see the interface or the workspace where you will be working with, and you can see this is the Revit interface. Okay, Revit, each and every tools what you need to use in Revit modeling or in BIM modeling will be available at the top of Revit screen. We will call that area as ribbon. Okay, which means this ribbon is further divided into different tabs for specific purpose, which means they segregated all the tools as per the headings. So it is much more easier for you to understand how to, where to get some tools. Say for example, a stair is an architectural item, so I can get the stair from architectural tab. If you want to get a foundation, foundation is a structural element, so what I should do, I should click on structure tab and then choose the structural. Like the way each and everything are placed properly, and left side you can see another window called project browser, and right side it is properties. Project browser means what? As I mentioned in the last class, you are not preparing any 2D views or any 3D views separately from here. You are going to prepare model. You got my point? You are going to prepare the entire model like how we create in the site. And from that model, we'll be extracting different drawings. It can be plan, it can be elevation, it can be section, like that. Okay, so that is what you can see there. Level 2, floor plan, ceiling plans, like that way different areas are there. And the right side it is the properties. Properties of what? Whatever is active, that item's property will be displayed there. Clear? And if I am coming to the site plan, as I mentioned in the previous slide, you have to start with the site, right? Because even if you have big concept, that is not practical. Always you should live in the practical life. Practical world you have to live, right? It is not your concepts alone will work. Your concepts and the practical site should merge together, and then only you can see. So that is why there you can see a separate site plan is there. And if you see the site, you can see some base points. Can you see these 2 points? These 2 points are considered as the base points in Revit. And this is one of the major point what you need to understand when you start a project, because here you can see this is considered as the survey point. Survey point, which in general we can say that this is our global origin. Global origin means considering some of your GIS origin as that survey point. It is fixed as 0, 0. You are not going to change it. Okay, but this circular item is considered as the project base point. Project base point means what? You are going to define the proper coordinate of your project. Say for example, if you are considering our city, Dubai city. Yes, Dubai city, from one origin point, all areas are measured. Okay, all areas coordinate is measured from one origin, and that origin is considered as this triangular survey point, and circular point is considered the project base point, to mention that my project or my site is located at that coordinate point. You can see both northing, see N and S represents what? Northing and southing. It is completely geo coordinate system. We are not following Cartesian system here in Revit. It is basically geo coordinate system with respect to latitudes and longitudes. Okay, so from the GIS data, definitely you will be getting those data from GIS. So from that GIS data, you are defining those 2 origins. Okay, where the northing value and where the easting value should be there. And definitely you can see one area called elevation there. Elevation means what? At the height, they are asking the height of your model, which means the Z axis, how far your land is located. So that value is what you have to mention here. And the last one, definitely you all might be knowing what is the true north and project north. If I'm expanding this screen, you can see angle to true north. Okay, hope you all might be familiar about the term or the concept of project north and true north, right? Project north means what? You are making or you are fixing the north as per your convenience for drawing the project north you are considering. So which is for your drawing consideration or for your drawing easiness, you are making that project north, and true north, which will be the actual direction what you can see there. So what you have to maintain is definitely there will be true north and project north, because whoever is working, they have to make their drawing into project north project north settings, and then they have to prepare their model. So that is the difference. So here they are asking what should be the difference between project north and true north. Clear? It's complicated. Okay, it's very interesting, very simple thing. You can give if you know the value, don't give it without knowing. Okay, so once it is okay, you can give the value from there, value for your project base point. So this is what you are giving, and as I mentioned, this I am considering as 0 0. There is a method to change that also, that I'm not making it complicated. We can make it, we can even specify the proper original global origin as other value other than 0 0. Okay, but now for the time being, make that triangular point as 0 0 and this as your project base point as the proper coordinates known location. So this is the concept of project base point. Clear? From the PPT, base point. Okay, so the base point is what we have discussed now. And now if I am considering, so say for the time being, I'm just making it as 0 and 0. Okay, and for the time being, now I am coming to level 1, and then we are creating an architecture model. Okay, in architecture model you can see a panel called datum panel. So what you might be knowing about datum, the term called datum, right, which is considered as a reference, or what you can say, local language you can say the benchmark concept or whatever it may be. You are considering that as a reference. Okay, so if you are going to this datum area architecture tab, you can see grid is there, level is there. If you look deeper, you cannot see the level is active. See, level is not active now, only grid is active because you are in level 1. So from level 1 you can draw only the grids. Now, so grids means what? Say for example, I took the grid and definitely I will get this draw panel, and then I am drawing a line. What is the purpose of this grid? In order to place or in order to position your major structural elements. Structural element means major building elements you will be placing for the datum element, especially the grids. Okay, and then we have an option called pick line. Say for example, I need to, it's just like an offset concept. See, if I'm making it like this, see, I can prepare grids like this. The same way, again I am taking grid, and there are certain shortkeys. Okay, there are shortkeys for everything, so that's why it will be much more easier. Okay. See, you can draw the vertical grid, and if you double click on this one, you can even change the grid name. And the same way, see, I'm giving this value as 8000. See, again, right, why, what is this 8000? Is it in millimeter or centimeter or whatever unit? Okay, so the thing is, since you open this default, it will come in millimeters. Okay, and if you want to do any check or something, you can go to this manage, find this project units. Okay, manage project units. You can see how length is described. It is described in millimeters. How area is described. It's whether it is in square meters or square feet or whatever you want. You can change. You can even change it. Okay, it doesn't mean you have to, if you find length in millimeter, the area should be only in millimeter square. It's not like that. You have to manage. You can manage any unit for your creation purpose. Okay, so that this is how you will set up the unit. So that is why I just randomly made temporary, like the unit as millimeters. And now, very interesting fact of Revit is that if you select any object in Revit, definitely at the same time they will show the nearby distance. Nearby distance they will show there, which is editable. Editable means if I am clicking on this value, say for example, if I want to make it as 4000, what is the advantage? See, you can change it. You can change it in the sense the element which you selected will also come with you. This is the difference. This is one of the differences what we can point out while considering other softwares. Okay, if it is in the generally what we have to say is that there is no manipulation possible. Manipulation is possible if you are reaching into that after doing many projects. If you understand the core concepts of Revit, you can do manipulation, but still in the general idea you cannot do any manipulation with Revit. That is why Revit is more genuine. Okay, so but the problem is people are not getting the correct track or the proper way of handling Revit. That is why many people are telling that Revit is too difficult to handle. So that is why I am making all these points clear. You be like this, and these are the datum element which is made as grid. And definitely if you go to elevation, you can see levels. You can see level of the way it keeps on going. It is definitely along the height, and I have to mention level is not just a line. It is an imaginary plane placed at various heights. Okay, it's an imaginary plane placed at various heights for keeping our building components, for placing our building components. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to level 1 and I need to place an architectural wall here. And one more thing I need to add with you. See, if I'm opening this elevation, if you go to architecture, you can see now level is active. Okay, so what we can conclude from there, level will be active only in the elevation, because you are levels in elevations only. That is the difference. Okay, so you can create, see, if you want to create new level, you can create it. See, I'm drawing it like this, and the same way we did in the grid, you can even rename, and you can also give the height for that one. See, for example, I changed the name and height, and when levels are ready, you can directly place the wall, and then from the wall what you can see, different types of walls will be available here. What you can create or you can develop your own wall. Okay, which we will be going into detail in the next sessions, because because the core concept of how to create a wall, because it is not just a simple line drawing phenomenon. We are going to develop the wall as it is. Okay, including the plaster, layers, claddings and everything, even the framings and all we can prepare. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, once this wall is ready, and you can specify whether it should go up from level 1 or down. I made it as height, and the same way to which level you need to connect this wall. Now you are in level 1, you need to connect this wall till level 2, and the same way you can specify what you are going to pick. Because if you are placing some wall here, you have to use line or whatever command. Okay, so for using, we either picking some points to place that. So they are asking where you want to pick, whether it should be the center of the wall, or whether it should be the exterior face of the wall, or whether it should be the interior face of the wall, or wherever. Okay, so that is what I am doing. I'm just making it as wall center line, because I considered this grid line as the center line of the wall. Keep that point in mind. Okay, you don't draw the grids. I considered here the grids as the center line of the wall. Then what I'm doing, I'm just clicking at the center. So what I can see is, I can see the plan like this way. Escape for that intersection points and press escape, so you can come out. So if you see the top view, what you can see, everything is proper. Points, you don't have to do anything, it is trimmed up. Okay, and again I'm taking the wall. Now I have chosen 200 mm thick wall, and now I'm going to take another wall with a thickness of 140 mm. I'm taking that, and starting from this intersection to here, and then again from here to here, like the way I am going to prepare the interior wall. And definitely interior wall will have to be created separately with different materials. Okay, so now within fraction of seconds, what we got is, we prepared the wall, or we placed the wall. So what I am taking you is, I am going to this view tab. In the view tab, you can see a 3D view there. So if you click on this 3D view, you can see you have developed your wall, developed your building. 3D of that wall is ready there. Okay, and if you click on the small button, we will call that as visual style. You can see different modes of that building. See, you can see that walls, whatever walls we created in wireframe mode, you can see it in hidden line, you can see it in shaded, you can see it in consistent color, and also you can see in realistic mode. Realistic mode means what? If you give any materials on that wall, you can maintain it properly from the realistic mode. Okay, so this is how we will start developing an architectural model. It is considered, or if it is connected with BIM. Okay, so this is how you have to start your modeling with and this is not finished. Okay, now what we need to do, we need to tell what is the material used in that 200 mm thick wall, and what is the plaster layer, whether there is plaster or whether there is cladding or whatever. If it is there, you can define it there. And after that, we need to prepare the floor finishes. We need to prepare roof, ceilings, furnitures, staircases, like the way you're going to prepare the preliminary design, which means I am taking you to the schematic design now. Okay, which we have discussed in the beginning. Okay, so schematic design you are preparing. So this is just, you can consider it as a brief schematic design, not up to the pure extent. Okay, because if you are going to the pure extent, you need to consider a little more other factors practically. Okay, so this is how we will be preparing the architecture model, and as I mentioned, you will be preparing different, you can see different views, and also in future if you open the site, you can prepare your own topography, this one, topo surface, which means how the land will look like. Okay, so one is modeled properly with its information. Okay, see, if I'm selecting this wall, if you go to the detail parameters of this one, you will get some kind of information. Say for example, this is, see, in this one we haven't mentioned any detail, so that is why every details of that wall is empty now. If you find, say for example, if you have any image, you can give, if you have model number, if you know the manufacturer, if you have any other comments, URL, like the link for the website and description about the things, and like the way even the fire rating. This is, see, it's definitely for the buildings, fire rating is very important, whether it is how many hours. The fire rating data you have to maintain properly if you are preparing a model which you have to submit for the municipality. Okay, so that is what I wanted to make it clear, that you are not preparing a 3D model, you are preparing the real model with informations. Okay, so that is how we need to manage this concept, and definitely in the coming sessions running, right? Okay, so definitely in the coming session we will continue this area by adding little more detail into the wall what we have developed now. Okay, so now we have prepared this space as our building, and we created the grids and everything, and now in the next coming sessions we will define the materials and related details for this structure, and once it is done, we will slowly develop, or we will slowly run to the next areas. And if you can see this, you can samples which I am not showing you today. I'll be showing you in the next classes, because you need to develop little more detail. 3D model, it is not just, it shouldn't be a 3D sample. You will prepare a model which is completely real for the industry, and little more detail has to be added there, then be little more effective. Okay, so with this I would like to conclude today's session. Hope we covered almost the basic introduction part of architectural BIM concepts, because now in the beginning we are entering into the architectural side. Okay, so once the architectural modeling is done, we will slowly prepare, or we will slowly enter into the structural side, and then later we will slowly enter into the MEP side, and then like the way at the end we have to prepare, or we have to make sure you prepare a clash-free BIM model. That is our main aim. Okay, so we will have to prepare a model which is completely clash-free, very fit or perfectly fit for the industry for preparing IFC. Okay, so with this I am concluding my session for today. Hope something was clear for you. I don't know how far it is okay, and how can you see the units. Okay, sure. Tushar has asked something regarding the units. Okay, so please see that. I'm just opening my. Okay, so can you see this Revit screen? If you are going to manage tab, see from the manage tab, you can see in the setting panel the very first icon which is called as project units, or for easy understanding you can see there is an option called, in the bracket they have mentioned UN, which means UN is the shortkey for getting the units. Okay, so either you can click on this icon and get this window and click on this button to change the units, or what you can do, you can just type UN in your keyboard, UN, no need to press enter. Okay, UN, so you will get it like this, and then later you can keep on change the units, and then it will be much more easy for you to carry out. Okay, so this is how we will set up the units and everything. Okay, so any other questions from your side? Hope Tushar your questions answered properly. Okay, and any other from your sides? So definitely what we are aiming is, even if you learn Revit, okay, yeah, one more question is coming. Where will be adding the site coordinates? Where we will be adding the site coordinates? Definitely good question from Shibu. Okay, see, if I open the site view or site plan from the project browser, you can see this icon. Actually, this icon represents the point, and if I'm just moving it little bit, clicking and dragging towards the right side, you can see two icons are available. Okay, one is triangle. Triangle represents what? Site survey point, and this is circular point which represents project base point. So always when you are working, especially in Dubai, we will have affection plan. Hope all of you are aware about affection plan, right? So for that one specific area, we have to know where is the base point. So that point's value is what we are entering here. Okay, so that you can enter here as one point. Moreover, along with this point, I need to add one more thing. You have to depend on your original affection plan with proper coordinate system. Generally, we can use AutoCAD, which means you can prepare the site plan from AutoCAD and then prepare the drawings properly, and then you can directly link it. Link it means if you go to this insert tab, hope you are seeing this thing, right? Okay, see insert tab, you can see this link CAD option. So what you are going to do, you are going to link your AutoCAD drawing. AutoCAD drawing means that affection plan which you prepared in AutoCAD by using a shared coordinate concept. This is one of the major area which we have to go into detail when you are doing the collaboration part. Or okay, so this shared, you are going to share the coordinate what is prepared in the other project. Okay, so that is how you have to maintain if you have other source for coordinate. If you don't have any other source, you can prepare it, but make it's mandatory that you have the right to prepare only or specify only point here by default. Okay, so definitely it is always better to get the coordinates or the data from AutoCAD. Okay, so this is how we'll be playing with the coordinates, because this is very, very important when you are taking the coordinate systems properly. And so that is what we need to discuss. And is it okay? Any more questions from your side? Okay. All right. I think it was clear. And definitely you can comment under this video if you have any other queries, or you can also watch this again and just you can raise your question. It is completely open, support you from your during your work. And definitely as I mentioned in the last classes, since we are every one of us are preparing this or doing the work from home, we need to maintain the maximum productivity from all of our side. We are also trying to achieve. So hope the sessions what we have done till now was clear for you, or if you have any questions, you can directly please share your concepts in under the video. And definitely I just want to inform you regarding tomorrow's session. Tomorrow we will have the session from Mr. Ashwin. He is the expert from MEP industry from CAD. So he will be sharing the detail about the implementation side with MEP, and what are the practical problems, what we need to understand when you are in MEP side and everything. Okay. So once again, thank you all. Thank you so much for being with me and being with us. And please be safe. Still the conditions are getting ready now. Definitely we can hope to get back to our work again back soon in double power. Let all of you be safe, and that's all. Thank you all, and have a good day. Thank you so much.